Hello there, Maritza Collins with What's Cooking. Thank you for joining us for the inaugural session of What's Cooking Fall Cooking Series. It's a 6-part series featuring some of your fellow What's Cooking members. Today, I'm being joined by Melissa Shepard-Williams, who will be hosting the show while I cook. Welcome, Melissa.
Hi, Mari. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm really curious about what's cooking today.
Well, today we're making plátanos. So plátanos or plantains are a staple in the Latino, Caribbean, South Asian, and African cuisine. This fruit, yes, I did say fruit, is a fruit, is one of those that you could use at all the stages. You could use them when they're green and when they're ripe, and they change their consistency and their flavor. For example, this is a green plantain. It's related to the banana, but thicker skin. This is when it's green. Thick skin, solid, pretty solid, and it's a starch. It's kind of, think of it as a potato. You would use it for the same things you use a potato. It's a side dish. You could use it as patacon, which is what we're making today. You can make chips out of it. They're fried. You can make mofongo, which is a patacon-based Puerto Rican dish. But basically takes the patacones or tostones, muddle it with garlic and pork cracklings or chicharrón. It's amazing. And then on top of this, sometimes people make kind of some kind of poultry. It could be poultry, it could be fish, it could be pork in a sauce, and they put it on top. If you never had it, try it. Really good. Also, Puerto Ricans make pasteles out of it. So like tamales, their tamales are plantain based. Again, the green plantain. And Cubans do mariquitas, which basically they take the plantain and cut it lengthways and fry them under like a side. And people dip it in oil with garlic. Really good. Also, you will see people in the Caribbean include this in those hearty soups that are basically a meal in a bowl.
Yes.
All right, so this is a plantain or plátano that's a little more ripe, a little more yellow. This also can be put in soup. Also, something about green plantain or even this color, you can boil it and mash it with a little bit of milk, salt, and pepper, kind of like you would do mashed potatoes. Okay, here's another plantain, a little more ripe. It starts getting sweet when you start seeing the yellow. And one of the things with plátano is when it's ripe, it starts getting black. The blacker and the bumpier the skin, the sweeter. And when it's sweet, we call it tajadas, and it accompanies every rice dish. To make arroz con pollo and not have plantain next to it is borderline sin in Panama. And and also we take these same tajadas, some people call it maduros, and when it's this ripe, we cut it in chunks. We boil it on the stovetop with brown sugar, cinnamon, pineapple, and we call it plátano en tentación, direct translation, temptation plantain, or candied plantains. After you're finished with boiling it on the stovetop, you put it in the oven, and that's when it becomes magical. Also uses for the yellow plantain are Puerto Ricans use it for something called plátano, which is an amazing dish. It's basically a plantain-based lasagna. They wait till it's ripe, and instead of pasta, they use the plantain. Again, if you haven't had it, do yourself a favor. Really, I'm sorry, I think I call it plátano, but it's pastelón. I just want to make sure I say it the right way. Anyway, let's get started. So today, as I mentioned, we're gonna do the green plantain. Let me get my hands washed first. And you want to make sure that you also wash the plantain thoroughly. I already did these, but you cut off both ends of the plantain and then put a slit in it in the skin. And you get in there with your finger and you kind of separate it. So this is how it will look. We try to get it off in one, but if you can't, you can always help yourself with the knife. And we get this out.
Can be a little tricky, huh?
Yes, it can be a little bit tricky, but we got it without much much fighting, which is always good.
Yes.
All right. So what we want to do is cut these in chunks. I'm going to move my camera down a little bit so you guys can see what I'm doing. All right. So you cut it in chunks, kind of diagonally. And one of the things with patacones is twice fried plantains. So you end up frying this twice. So the first time you fry it, you don't want it to be too crispy. So let me go ahead and start my oil to get warm so that we can get that going. The other thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be making tajadas or the maduro, which is when it's more ripe. So let's start that while my stove warms up. Again, you cut the ends off. Let me move these over. And this may or may not be ripe enough. One of the things that plátanos, you could buy, now almost everywhere sells them, but Latino markets always have them. You could get it at a grocery store. We have, in California, we have Ralph's, and you could get it at Ralph's. I just bought it at a new Amazon Fresh store around the corner. So
nice.
They're readily available. All right, so let's see if we can get this skin off.
These are for the maduros?
These are for the maduros, correct. The end is kind of stuck, but we're gonna get rid of it. Again, you cut it kind of lengthwise, but longer, because you want more of the surface of it to get fried and crispy. So this is as ripe as they had at the store. A lot of times what we could do for plátanos, if you buy them and they're not ready, put them in a brown bag and wrap them up, and in a couple of days, they're ripe. Somebody told me that you could put them in the sun and ripen them, you know,
oh, really?
quicker. I haven't done that, but have you, Alyssa?
No, I've only done the paper bag trick. I mean, you know, our moms and grandmothers have all these tricks to move things along.
All right, so here's another one. Let's see. The stove is still thinking. You want to make sure that your oil is pretty warm or pretty hot, because that way it doesn't absorb all of that oil. This one is kind of in the middle. You can still kind of make patacones out of it, but they may be a little bit sweeter.
I have a question. Because I'm wondering if you use any specific kind of oil when you're frying these plantains.
Yeah, I normally use vegetable oil. You can also use canola oil if you like, but yeah, you really get it warm. Get enough so that the plantain is submerged in it. You want it to fry pretty quickly, so that it's not sitting there absorbing all of that oil.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I mean, really, what is a Caribbean dish without plátanos? I don't know.
I know. I think if you serve in Panama arroz con pollo and you don't serve plátano, people start looking at you like, where's the rest?
I know. That's a side-eye moment.
That is a side-eye moment. Like, okay, what's going on? There's no plátano in here.
Oh my goodness.
All right. So let me check on the stove.
Okay. So the candied plantains, when you were talking about the pineapple, I thought, this is a really delicious way of preparing them. I've heard so many ways. Is this one of the Aurelia's tricks, pineapple?
I've always made it with pineapple. My mom does too. I don't know if other people do. Do you put pineapple in yours when you make it?
I haven't, but I do love it when Tia Aurelia makes it with pineapple. And I've noticed that different people have different ways of preparing their candied plantains, their plátanos en tentación.
Yes. So for you guys that don't know who Tia Aurelia is my mother, which is an amazing cook. And Melissa always says, and this is actually a true statement, that she could make seasoned gravel and it will be delicious. We grew up
delicious.
We grew up with my mom being a very good cook and also very diverse. Like my family, we ate all kind of food. My mom literally makes from Chinese food. She makes duck, she makes the whole shebang to anything else. And I think it just passed down because I also like to cook diverse, like Panamanian food or Caribbean food, a lot of even Moroccan, you know, you name it. I think
Yes.
cooking is an art, and I think that food, you know, I love fusion, and I love, that's a way of de-stressing.
Sure.
All right, so I feel like that oil's a little is warm, so I'm gonna go ahead and put some of these in there to get these started.
Well, while you're putting them in the oil, I just wanted to say thank you for creating What's Cooking, because, you know, it's been such a rough time for so many of us that it's interesting how cooking as a way of, you know, feeling creative and de-stressing has been such an important way of dealing with these challenges. So thank you, thank you, thank you. It's such a fun page. My goodness. Beautiful.
So thanks, I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm enjoying it a lot myself, giving me an opportunity to cook. You know, when we have to go to work outside of home, you end up, you know, by the time you get there and everything else, now you cut out the commute. So you have times to do what you love doing. Right. And my friends and I always end up talking about food. Surprise. So, and trying new places. So I was like, okay, let's go ahead and start it. And we started out with like a couple people, Melissa being one of the first. And now we're over 130 people, and friends told friends that told other friends. And I've learned a lot from many of the cooks, gotten new ideas. We have some amazing cooks in the group, and we all end up having, we live vicariously through them because they're so good cooks. And one of the things I like, and one of the things I try to do with the group is not only show my cuisine, but inspiration. So if I see something that I thought's interesting or a new way of doing it, we share it and we try it. So that's been very exciting to do.
Wonderful. It's such an inspiring place to visit, you know, to really get our creative juices going. So, you know, I am really glad that this page is here for us. It really is cool. All right, how are the plátanos going?
They're starting. So I'm gonna start also making the ripe ones, the maduros, because that oil is also hot.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
So this one you only fry once, the maduros, you do. The other thing is what I'm gonna do today with the, let me add these here for a second. With the patacones, you can have it as a side dish, just straight. But what I'm doing today is that I'm gonna have it kind of like a loaded patacon. So I'm gonna use it more like base or like a vessel. So as I mentioned, people use it as potatoes, as side dish, but now it's becoming a lot, very popular to use the patacon as kind of like a bread substitute. So one of the things I'm gonna be making today is the patacon on the bottom, and then on top of that, I'm gonna put some mozzarella cheese, and then another one, it becomes kind of like a mini grilled cheese.
Oh my God, you're killing me.
I'm sorry, Melissa, it's far, so she's not gonna get to taste it.
Well, you know what? Know that that's one more
thing. The other thing we're doing. Well, I think the list is, we're gonna have to have a lot of get-togethers after this is done, because we see so many great recipes. Everybody's like, you know, when we can see people again, let's have that. One of the other things I'm doing today is also using it as a vessel, but I'm doing like the loaded version. So I'm gonna be putting black beans, chicken, salsa on it, and it's phenomenal.
Oh my goodness. You're killing
me. You hear them going in the back.
Yeah, that oil is singing.
It is singing. The other thing is, the good thing with Patacones is that really they're vegetarian.
Yes, yes.
Just leave the chicken out. All right, I hear it.
Yes, I hear it too. I hear it too. Okay. Wow, patacones really take me back home, Mighty. They really do. Such a lovely thing to just snack and remind ourselves of home.
Yes, yes, I hear it. I hear it.
Mhm.
All right.
Hey.
So, Melissa, what are some of your favorite patacon moments? Like, what do you like to have your patacon with?
Well, you know what? I love having patacones with fried sausage. Ay, ay, ay. Me encantan. I love them. And you know, my Aunt Amy, she has this tradition and it's been going on for years. She loves making patacones when it's raining as a comfort food.
Interesting.
Yeah, when it's raining, that's her go-to. Time for patacones. So delicious. So delicious.
One of the, my grandfather was a big green plantain mash, which is kind of like, like mashed potatoes. So he would boil, take the skin off, boil them, mash them, salt, pepper, and if you want a little bit of milk so it becomes creamier, but if not, no.
Yeah.
And also once they're turning, once they're getting from green to ripe, we call that turn, they have a tiny bit of sweet. So that's really good also mash.
Yes.
Or in soups.
Yes.
People in most Black Panamanians are West Indian descent, and in the West Indies, they love these one-pot soups that are a meal. When you talk about everything but the kitchen sink, yes, every single root vegetable known to mankind, yuca, plantain, everything is in there. Super hearty and delicious, and it's one of those things that you eat one of those, and it holds you because it's a full meal.
It holds you. And I remember my grandmother's soup. I mean, the spoon could stand up.
Yes.
Starch.
Almost. Yes, because it's that thick. All right, I hear some action here. All right.
How are they coming?
They're coming. They're coming.
Good, good, good.
I hear it kind of going on. The ripe ones are starting to get ready too. So, all right, we'll continue. So another thing that, like I mentioned, patacon is a side dish in Panama. People have it with a sandwich, and you have patacon, and then people serve it with ketchup, a lot of ketchup, and sometimes hot sauce. We love patacon. And also, as Melissa was saying, with the fried sausage, they do appetizers. So they have the patacones, and you have the choricito or salchicha, little sausage together. Yes. That's very, very popular in Panama to have if you go to a restaurant, either as an appetizer, or even sometimes bars sell it because it's heavier. So you could drink, you need something in your stomach. If you're drinking, that could hold you.
Yes, yes. And in Puerto Rico, they call them tostones.
Yeah, in Dominican Republic, they also call it tostones. And we call it patacon.
Cubans also call them tostones.
Yes. Yeah, we're, I guess, one of the weird ones that call it patacon. Oh, other nationalities also call it patacon.
Oh, yeah, but wait a minute. Remember that Johnny Ventura song, Patacon Pizza?
Pizza.
So I don't know, maybe they call it patacon también.
Maybe it's different if it's, if you do it one way, it's tostón, and if you do it another way, it's patacon.
At the end of the day, it's plátano.
And it's delicious. All right, let me put some more in. Get these others smashed. So, okay, so for the smashing, it's always really interesting because there's not an official patacon smasher. Most people literally take a cup or a glass container or something and they just mash it. You can also, I'm gonna cheat and I'm gonna use my spice. I'm gonna rinse it off. But you could, the trick is that you want to be able to put pressure on it evenly so it sinks evenly. But some people also use the rolling pin. I don't. So we'll see how this works out. Something else I wanted to show you is these. It's called a tostonera or pataconera. This is we got it in Panama, but it makes the patacon into like a little basket. So you would put once it's fried and smashed, you put it here and you bring this down and it creates a little basket and you can fill it with anything you like.
What are you filling it with?
All right, so we're gonna try to get these smashed. All right.
What do you like filling yours with when you turn them into a cup?
People like to do shrimp. Something with some kind of liquid, you know. You could do cheese. In this case, you could put the same filling that I'm using. You can fill it with the same items that I'm putting over it. So you see now it's smashed, is a little flatter. Let me see, this larger one should give you a better surface. You want to smash it enough that it goes down, but not to the point that it's so thin that it's gonna break, because it needs to withstand another frying. All right, so what my family does, and this is a trick, I don't know if it's a trick, but what we do is that we create this, and I already did it, heavily salted water and garlic. And you dip the patacon in it for a couple seconds before you fry it again to get extra flavor. And you pat dry it, because you don't want all of this wetness in that oil. But you get a little bit of flavor, but you need to make sure you put enough salt in that water, because if you don't, it's not doing anything. So you kind of leave it in there 2 seconds, and all right, here it is.
Okay. So then it's a garlicky flavor.
It's a garlicky flavor, yeah. Okay, I'm hearing some action back there, so let me see what's going on.
Okay. Wow, that's gonna be so good.
Absolutely, tasty.
Yes.
What I like, Puerto Ricans make, sorry, not Puerto Ricans, Cubans make the mariquitas, and they're longer.
Yes.
And thinner. And they're faster to make. This patacon, since you have to fry it twice, is more work. But it's the same kind of, you could dip it. And they serve it with an olive oil, oil with garlic, which is delicious. Okay, let me take out this last group, and I'm gonna put these that are now flat in there.
And the mariquitas are so pretty too for presentation. It just looks so pretty. Long.
Yeah, they're very pretty. So what I did, I had a party last year and I used mariquitas, and then I had similar things that I'm serving today, the black beans and salsa and different things, and people kind of use the mariquitas like a nachos, and then they put everything on it. It was very, very, very popular, to say the least. Melissa was there.
It was so good.
Right, these stayed in a little longer. You see, they got a little darker, and for you to smash them, you kind of have to put a little elbow grease in it so that they smash. But it's same, you know. You could, let me see, almost there.
Okay. And the thing about them is that they fly from the plate. You can't make too many. They fly from the plate. You can't make too many.
Oh, yeah. The thing with patacones is they're delicious, but it takes work because it's a couple of frying, but it takes 2 seconds to eat. So whenever you're serving them, I say, make enough, because whatever you think is enough is not. People start eating it and they're crispy and they're gone. In a second, they're gone. Like Melissa said, you can't. And once you start putting things on it, forget it.
Oh, yes.
They're really, 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 really tasty. All right, so let me get rid of that water. Let me check my maduros are having a lot of fun.
Oh my goodness. Were they getting more golden than you planned? They're getting.
A lot of people like the maduros really well done because it starts getting crispy.
Yes.
So these are like that.
Okay.
All right, let me see what's up. Flying plátano.
An escapee plátano.
Yeah. All right, let me see what that is. I'll throw it out in my trash bin over here. We're almost there, guys.
You know, Marty, my grandmother used to also wait for them to get super soft and then broil them.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Ever have them that way?
Once they're getting super, super soft, they're hard to fry because they kind of come apart.
Mm-hmm.
So broiling is probably a good way to showcase them.
Yeah. Wow, I haven't had them like that in a long time.
All right, so here are maduros. Some of them are a little more charred, but I don't know if you can see this.
Yum.
So this next to rice are great.
Yes.
All right, let me take out the patacón. There you go.
Okay.
In the last few.
I'm ready to see that assembly. What it's gonna look like when you put all those, the beans and the chicken and the, oh my gosh.
All right, so
let's see.
We're gonna start assembling now. All right. Well, one of the things you also want to do is when it comes out of the oil, you want to salt them because it does lose salt once it's cooking. All right, so we're these two. I'm gonna make the one that has the mozzarella first. So this is mozzarella. I'm gonna put a little salt. You can put a little pepper on that.
Okay.
Here you go.
Ideas.
And then you cover it.
Mm-hmm.
And here, I don't know if you guys can see it. We'll put this on the side so the heat of the patacón helps melt some of that cheese.
That looks great.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, well, I got to try that.
All right, so I'm going to do my loaded patacones. So there's a couple, you know, if you have fatter plantains, they make a bigger patacón. These are not as big, so you could kind of make this like a nacho. You kind of pour the stuff on there. You can eat with your hand or knife and fork if you like. Let me get these out of here.
Okay.
Okay. Turn that off so it doesn't. So I am using black beans. I had these made. If you want, you can just use canned beans. You know, nobody's gonna know. You could take the canned beans and doctor it up with some garlic and warm it, and they're really good. I'm also putting this avocado salsa, which I love, store-bought, but it's very tasty. And I'm doing a Mexican blend cheese, and you can put some tomatoes on it also.
Okay.
Melissa's like, you're torturing me.
You're torturing me, but I'm glad to hear you mention these shortcuts, because sometimes we need shortcuts. I just want to.
Yeah, you know, if you have people coming over, or if you have a quick meal that you need to fix, like beans, homemade beans are amazing, but they take a while.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Alrighty.
One of the things we do to drain the oil is, you know, the paper towels are great, but brown bags. So those from the grocery store, you can't see back here. I kind of put some underneath to help absorb the oil. All right, so we're gonna tricks. Shortcuts are always great. All right, so let's see what's cooking with our beans now.
All right. Wow.
All right. So
see,
go ahead I kind of hold back some of the liquid so it's not as wet.
Mm-hmm.
But you can,
My
you know.
goodness, that is super hot. It's giving you a facial.
2 for the price of 1. Patacones and facial. All right. Next, I grilled some chicken. I already have it here. I'm just gonna put it on top. A little bit of chicken.
Oh wow. My goodness.
Put a little bit of tomato on this also. Don't worry about it not being pretty. I think that's part of the beauty of it.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. All those colors. Oh my gosh. Okay, you know, I'm gonna have to go to the store and oh my gosh.
Okay, so this is the Mexican blend of cheese.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, we'll put some salsa, the avocado salsa. I told you it's store-bought, but it's really tasty.
It works. Oh, how
you just
pretty.
put a little bit on this. All right. And
Ready?
voila.
Ready?
We have our loaded patacones.
Beautiful. Look at those colors. I'm inspired to get these ingredients today.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed this patacon or plátano session. And I look forward to seeing you in other videos. Take care and we can check out what's cooking.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks. This is beautiful.